Welcome to the Hey John show. This is the quarantine episode. This is not officially episode one. This is going to be my rant episode. All right. So, without further ado, we're going to pause the music here and get into what I want to talk about. All right. Here we go. All right, folks. So, I want to talk to everyone, especially those who have been laid off recently due to this COVID-19 um, virus. And I wanted to just talk about a topic that I call the salesman and the manager. And this subject is going to be focused on our last two administrations. I'm gonna do my best to let's just forget party lines. Let's just talk about the manager and the salesman. All right. Back in 2008, President Obama was elected our president. It was historic because it was the first black man that the United States felt deemed could become president of the United States. And let's kind of take a look at his piece of history, right? Here's a man who's a loving father, a faithful husband, has two beautiful daughters, had no mess. Okay, let's be clear here, folks. They couldn't find any dirt on him, any mistresses, anything on him, right? So he becomes president. And he became president during a time in this country where markets were falling, people were losing homes. Let's be honest. People who made $50,000 a year were getting mortgages for a $300,000 house. Okay, that was bad economics to begin with. There were a lot of people who were hinting to this problem coming, that we were going to hit a recession. It was ignored, but eventually we hit the recession. Okay, and Obama came in, and a lot of people are going to say, "Well, did you vote for him?" Yeah, I did. I did vote for him both times. I did. And I did it more, not because he was a black man, because I felt that here's a new person, a new fresh face, someone that can do something. And there are moments during his presidency which, as someone who voted for him, I was upset with him on, especially his foreign policy. I wasn't a fan of his foreign policy. And there are other things that I was disappointed in, but overall, I liked him as a human being, and as someone to look up to as a black man. I really did appreciate Obama, but that's not really the why I'm diving into this piece. Let's focus on that, and that's about the time he came in. So he came in during a time when the U.S. was going through a recession, and he did something. He bailed out the banks. He bailed out the auto industry, and put us into a trajectory of positive growth. Okay. Within the first 3 months of his presidency, he dealt with swine flu. Okay, swine flu was a pandemic that was attacking a good chunk of the United States. If you look at the figures between April of 2009 and when it was officially, they said, ended in January, the numbers, however you skew the numbers, there's always this big argument that, like the argument now is people who died with COVID or died and COVID was one of their symptoms. These numbers are flawed. Listen, this has been going on way before COVID, okay? Numbers are flawed. But you'll find online numbers between 12,000 that died and 17,000 that died, okay? Regardless of the fact COVID has already surpassed that, okay, in just a month. Okay, it surpassed what happened in 9 months in 1 month. Okay, let's put that into historical perspective. Okay, so regardless how you see the numbers, whether 12,000 died or 18,000 died, between that period, that's how many died. Yet during that time, countries still went on as normal. Nothing stopped. Things were normal. And I'm not saying that, if he was president, COVID would be a totally different experience. We'll get to that part here in a second. One thing that I want people to understand is, regardless of the fact of whatever he did, people were going to die, and people did die. Okay, during the swine flu, many families lost loved ones, but the world, America as a whole, didn't stop running. It just kept on going. Okay, we fast forward on 2014, Ebola comes out. Granted, it didn't hit America hard, but America was one of the big players in helping the African countries with supplies, sending doctors over there to help combat Ebola. Okay. Now let's go back to let's go back to 2009 for one quick second, and I want to point something out. So when I use the analogy of the manager and the salesman, let's look at Obama's like mystique. Okay, why did people, especially black people, love Obama? The way he spoke, okay, his calm tone, okay. He made you feel, when he spoke, he made you feel included, right, in the process, okay. Yes, people were dying during swine flu, but the president had a good team which executed a great plan which minimized the disruptions that could have occurred during when swine flu hit. Now let's fast forward. Obama's now gone. Okay. America selects Donald Trump. Okay. Now I'm going to do my best to remove my, how I feel about Donald Trump. The one thing I do agree with Donald Trump on is that there is a lot of fake news around him. Yes, there is. Some of it, a lot of it unwarranted because people want him out. I get it. But there is a lot of fake news. And of course, there's a lot of lying on his side as well. So let's not, let's not, punish Peter for what Paul is doing. Okay. Let's not do that. But one of the things that I want to stress about Donald Trump, I call Donald Trump the salesman. Okay. I don't care what anyone thinks about the man, but he is a great salesman. And I'll explain why. He is one of the few, he is probably the only person in the world who can file for bankruptcy 6+ times and still get credit. I don't know many people, frankly, I don't know even my family, who could go bankrupt 6+ times and still get credit. He is the only man, I think, who can do that. Hands down, period. I don't think any of his kids can do it. I think he is the only person who can do that. Let's put that in perspective. He filed for bankruptcy multiple times, yet he still can get credit in this country. Okay? He is by far the greatest salesperson, in my opinion, ever, because he can sell you anything. Okay? So we have now phased off of Obama. We are now, Donald Trump. And the economy is on fire. Okay? The economy was booming, on fire, rocking and rolling. We get some news in, December 31st that some Wuhan virus is spreading across the world. We technically acknowledge it in March, basically. Like, yeah, we hear it, but action started happening in March. Okay? And this is where I want to talk about the manager and the salesperson. All right? So remember I said earlier on that Obama was a good manager. He was, because he had a good team who he deployed in place, which mitigated the noise around swine flu. All right? Whatever they did, they were able to contain it in a part of the country where it did not spread across everywhere. Okay? We could take all the warnings, and there's been reports that when Obama's administration was leaving, they alerted the Trump administration that, hey, we need to replenish our medicine cabinet because it's bare. The Trump administration knew it. Okay, they didn't replenish it. Let's let's just put that aside for a second. Okay, they did not replenish, even though they knew they got the walkthrough. They knew about possible pandemics. They didn't address the the stock. The cupboards were bare. They didn't replenish the stock. All right, let's put that to the side. Okay. The noise about he was not responsible for getting rid of the pandemic team. All right, let's put all that aside. Let's put all that noise aside because there's people on either side that'll argue that he got rid of the pandemic team, and then there are people on the side that said no, he trimmed the fat. Okay, let's forget it. Let's look at the actual plan. Okay, Trump was a great salesman. The economy skyrocketed. My stock portfolio was looking great, excited. But then this pandemic hit. And this is why sometimes you need to have a very good team and you need to be a very good manager. This is the time when we needed a manager. Okay? Because what we saw that happened, and let's put aside the early on, oh, this will go away by April, we're fine, we don't have to worry about it. Let's for a second just throw that in the bucket on the side. Okay, what was the plan? Okay, when I look across this country, we have 50 governors of states, and we look at the amount of disarray between the governors. Okay, we have governors who decided to do their own thing. Let's just shut the city down. We got too many cases. Shut it down. We had governors who were saying, "Man, I don't see anything going wrong. It ain't hitting us yet. We'll do our own thing." And then we got governors that are saying, "I'm waiting for the president to tell me what to do." Okay, let that sink in for a second. So here we are. We have a virus that's spreading. We'll tackle in a separate video about China, and China is 100% responsible. They should pay, and they're going to pay. I firmly believe that they're going to pay for this. But let's just put that aside, okay? We have a virus spreading. We've had hundreds of thousands of Asian Americans on flights back and forth. Let's be clear here. New York, Atlanta, and LA are big hubs for flights coming from China. Okay, so it started spreading. We don't know how far it spread, but when we knew, it's to me, it's the actions we took after we knew. All right, that's what I want to focus on. What actions did this country take after we knew about this? We had 50 governors, each person doing their own thing. We have misinformation back and forth. We have people who had no clue how the virus is spread. One day they're telling us wear gloves, put a mask on. Next day they're telling us, oh, just wear the gloves, you don't need the mask. Then they're telling us, oh, you got to be 3 feet away. Then you got to be 6 feet away. Some people are saying you need to be 20 feet away. We have all this misinformation going on. And then meanwhile, we're closing, businesses have to stay at home. People have to stay at home. Businesses are crumbling. And people are losing jobs. So the unemployment rate was at 4.4%. Now it's over 10, and people say by the time the bleeding is done, it'll be about 20. Okay, this is where we are, and my point of this video is management. What was what was the manager's plan after we knew? How are we going to prepare this country for what's going to happen in the next few months? Okay, that's the part that is troubling. And when you look at this, regardless of what side of the aisle you look on, the point is we're in this, it's gotten this bad because of bad management. People, you have people in charge of states that have no clue what to do. We don't have enough supplies. And because of bad management, many more lives are lost that technically should have been lost. Could President Trump have stopped people from dying? No. I, regardless of the fact, there's no way people would not have died. People would have died regardless. But if there was an effective plan executed, we could have, in all honesty, be on the other side of this right now. Because currently, right now, from what you hear, regardless if you believe it or not, we have reached what a lot of people say we've reached the peak. We don't know. There's still a lot about the disease we don't know. But had there been an effective plan in place, that plan could have been executed to mitigate the spread of this illness, of this virus. Sorry, this virus. So that's all I want to say. Oh, God, I spoke for almost 20 minutes here. But that's all I want to say. And I really just want people just to look at just the core fundamentals of good management and bad management. Okay. What happened with H1N1? Were we a little late on that? Yes, we were. There could have been less lives lost there. But overall, it was decent management. When the plan was executed, the plan was effective. With this, we still don't even know what the plan is. We're talking about when America is going to open again. We don't even know, like, what is the actual plan? What's the plan? We don't know. And when the people don't know, that is a sign of bad management. Okay? That's all I wanted to say. If you agree, you know, give a thumbs up. If you don't, it's okay. You can give a thumbs down. That's fine. But if you don't, please share your reasoning why you don't. All right? Hope you guys enjoy your day. I know this light is in my face. This is blasphemy. But we'll get into the real Hey John show where we focus on tech, relationships, life, things, a black man goes through. All right? So thank you for listening to my rant. I appreciate it. Wish you guys the best. Peace.